Good afternoon, gallery, staff, councillors, and those that are online viewing this meeting of Richmond Valley Council, ordinary meeting on the 27th of October 2023. I'll open the meeting with the acknowledgement of country. Richmond Valley Council recognises the people of the Bundjalung Nations as custodians and traditional owners of this land, and we value and appreciate the continuing culture connections to lands, their living culture, and their unique role in the life of this region in the past, present and future. Mr. General Manager, could you read the prayer, please?
Dear Lord, we meet to serve our Richmond Valley community, to use our resources wisely and well, to represent all members of our community fairly, to make decisions that promote the common good. We recognise our responsibility to the past and the future, and the rights and needs of both individuals and community. As trusted servants, we seek blessings on our deliberations and on our efforts here today. May we act wisely and well. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Councillors, we also have online Councillor Cornish has resolved at the September ordinary meeting for him to attend online. The next item is public access. We have nil requests. And item 4 is apologies. We have 2 apologies today. One is from Deputy Mayor Morrissey and Councillor Deegan. Can I get a mover, please, for those?
Yeah, move.
Councillor Hayes, and a seconder, please.
Second.
Councillor Humphries. I'll put that motion. All those in favour? Carried. Mayoral minute. Councillors, I do have a late mayoral minute, and that's because there was an announcement made last Friday after the agenda had been distributed. I'll move a recommendation that reads notes a receipt of more than $13.8 million for community flood resilient projects under the Community Assets Program and Infrastructure Betterment Fund, and 2, writes to the Australian and New South Wales government representatives to express Council's appreciation for the funding and the government's continued support for community flood recovery programs in the Richmond Valley. Could I get a seconder, please?
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor McGillen. Councillors, last Friday, as I said, I attended Murwillumbah for a funding announcement by member for Richmond, Justine Elliott, and member for Lismore, Janelle Saffin, where they made some announcements for regional councils in our area. I was very delighted to hear that Richmond Valley would receive $13.8 million. I think it's a big boost to our community. But for those who are viewing and haven't had an opportunity to read, and I've bought the wrong piece of paper, I think. No, we're right. To read my recommendation and my mayoral minute, I'll read it. The Richmond Valley has received another major boost for local sporting groups and communities' facilities, with the announcement last week of $13.8 million in Community Assets Program, CAP, and in Infrastructure Betterment Fund grants for 7 local projects. The projects include a new suspension bridge across the Richmond River at Casino, as well as major upgrades for 4 local clubhouses. These grants, jointly funded by New South Wales and Australian governments, are designed to help flood-affected communities build back better with more resilient infrastructure. They will help to improve the design and construction of our community facilities to ensure they will suffer less damage from inundation in the future and be able to return to service more quickly. This is a great result for our community, as it will allow these growing sporting clubs to contribute to the design of the modern facilities that meet their needs and provide access to people of all ages and abilities. It is pleasing to see Council's continued advocacy for flood recovery funding acknowledged through this investment. The projects include 1. Casino Suspension Bridge, $3.5 million. This project will provide a new river crossing between McAuliffe Park in Casino CBD to community facilities in Queen Elizabeth Park, replacing the old lower level crossing that was badly damaged in the floods. The new crossing will form an important part of the future plans to upgrade the Casino CBD and link this area to the riverbank, walking trails and recreational areas. The CAP grant will provide funds for construction of a modern suspension bridge, including geotechnical investigation, piers, footing works and approach ramps. Design concepts have been prepared for the bridge. This is an exciting project that will help to revitalise the Casino CBD, provide an additional tourism attraction to complement the Northern Rivers Rail Trail and provide better access to the riverbank precinct. 2. The NRLX Effluent Management System, $5.7 million. This funding, provided under the Infrastructure Betterment Fund, will allow Council to carry out extensive upgrades to the wastewater management and treatment system at NRLX that was damaged during the 2022 flood events, to improve its environment performance and comply with the pollution reduction program imposed by the EPA. The investment will help to prepare the facility for new leasing arrangements and ensure it continues to be one of the leading sale yards in New South Wales. 3. Casino Rugby League Clubhouse Upgrade, $1.6 million. Casino Rugby League is one of the fastest growing clubs in our region, with the largest junior registrations in New South Wales and more than 100 female players. This funding will provide a much needed extension to the existing multi-purpose clubhouse, including 2 new female change rooms. There are currently no dedicated change rooms for the club's 6 female teams, and these new facilities will help the club to continue to grow women's rugby league and casino. The club attracts local and regional spectators to its games, so the new undercover area will be welcome. The upgraded clubhouse will be constructed of flood and storm resilient materials and brought up to modern building standards for accessibility. The Casino Netball Clubhouse, $1.3 million. This project at Collie Park includes the construction of a new modular clubhouse which will be built above flood levels on a pier and beam system. Collie Park's location in the stormwater basin makes it challenging to protect these facilities against inundation, but their resilience can be improved through better design and construction materials. The new clubhouse facilities will improve opportunities to host regional and school netball events at Collie Park, as well as supporting NAIDOC Week activities which are held at the netball courts. The NRLX Effluent Management System. I've done that one, it's been pinned twice. New clubhouse for Casino Swimming Club. Following on from the Council's $6.7 million upgrade of the Casino Memorial Swimming Pool, this extra funding will allow construction of a new and improved clubhouse for the swimming club. The facility will include a kitchenette and servery, as well as storage facilities for club and competition equipment. The clubhouse will be repositioned on site to allow for future Stage 2 works in the pool upgrade project. Betterment of Woodburn Memorial Car Park. This funding will help to enhance the Memorial Hall, providing a new sealed car park with improved drainage and all-weather access. The works will include a new pathway connecting with the hall's ramp access and the footpath leading to the Woodburn CBD. Also, a new shared facility for Woodburn Pony and Tennis Clubs of $840,000. Sports groups using the Woodburn Oval have been working hard to recommence their activities since the flood inundated most of the site last year. The existing clubhouse at the Oval was severely impacted, leaving the local pony and tennis clubs having to work around damaged infrastructure. The funding will provide a new multi-purpose building to ensure it meets their needs and modern building standards for accessibility. The new building will be constructed of flood-resilient materials, so it is easy to restore to service after the future flood events. The clubhouse will complete other repair and upgrade works at Woodburn Oval, including resurfacing the field. The funding we'll provide through these two community programs will be a great boon to our local sporting and community groups and help to continue the Richmond Valley's commitment to build back better after the floods. The projects will not only improve the future flood resilience of our community buildings, but also ensure that local groups can continue to grow and offer a range of activities for all ages and abilities. Council looks forward to working in partnership with the New South Wales and federal governments to deliver these projects. Any councillors like to make any comments?
Yeah, I'll just comment on the ones down our way at Woodburn. I think Woodburn's hanging out for some new and upgraded community facilities, and the one at the Pony Club will be and the tennis club will be well used, and the car park it's needed doing since before the floods, and it was budgeted. I think it was to be budgeted, and it's good to see the money come through for that. So that'll provide a lot better access in and out of that hall and into the main street. So much appreciated, along with all the others. They're all great projects.
Anyone else? Councillors, I just think it's a great outcome. I'll speak and I'll close it. It's a great outcome for our community and for the NRLX. That funding was really required. We've been chasing that for a while now, and for that to come through was fantastic. On the sporting side of the grants, the General Manager and I met with those representatives. We met with the rugby league, the swimming club and the netball at Collie Park, and they were all just amazed and very happy. But I must say, when we went down to Woodburn, the joy on those people's faces to know that they were getting an upgraded clubhouse was just very rewarding. And that clubhouse, when you stand there and have a good look at it and see where, and they told us where the water went to, it's really, and it was previously, it was past its use by date anyway, before the flood. The little canteen and that outgrowing that, and so it's a really good outcome. On the suspension bridge, I can recall as a young lad walking from school over there to Queensworth Park, down across the footbridge, and a lot of the times we couldn't have sport because it was too far around to go over the bridge. By the time you walked there, it was nearly time to turn around and come back. So, and after the flood, that footbridge was closed for 5 months, and usually if you get a big fresh in the river, it'll wash some away and costing money to repair it all the time. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to the suspension bridge, and it'll be another attraction for our region. People will want to come and have a look at that because there's no other suspension bridge that I know around than up around our area. And I put the question to Director Zeller. I think the main span's nearly 50 metres. Is that pretty close?
Yep, that's right. Yep.
Yeah. So all in all, it'll be about a 100-metre bridge, but the big span will be about 50 metres. So it's going to be something to look at. So, but that another rewarding week for Richmond Valley residents and our community. It's really, and I think our government see that Richmond Valley is doing a great job, and they're coming through with the funding for our projects because they know we get on with it. And as I said at my last mayoral minute, that's what the community expect us to do, is get on with our job, and that's what we're doing. I'll put that motion then. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Page 6, item 6, confirmation of the minutes of the September meeting. Can I get a mover, please, for the accuracy? Councillor Humphries, seconder. Councillor McGillan. Everyone's okay with their accuracy? I'll put that recommendation. All those in favour? Carried. Unanimous. Item 7, matters arising out of the minutes. Has any council got any matters arising out of those minutes?
Yeah, item 7, just wondering if we've had any reply from the response from the Premier's office regarding the proposed rate relief application letter that we sent down. Had any reply?
Page 9, is that right?
Yeah, that's correct, page 9, yep, sorry.
Mr General Manager?
Yeah, that letter's, obviously it was gone, and we did follow that up with our local members, local MP's office yesterday, so they were going to, see what they could do to get a response. So at this stage, no, we don't have a formal response to that letter to the Premier.
Thank you. And item, we're at 14.1, the parts 4 and 5. I'm just want to know on part 4, has a contractor been appointed as yet?
This is page
Page
11.
11
Yep.
on the NRLX.
Yes, a contractor has been appointed in line with that resolution from the last meeting.
And dot point 5 there, how are we progressing with the expressions of interest to recommence sales until the lease is in place?
So following the September council meeting and the resolution there, an offer was made to the local agents to resume sales at the NRLX, with them controlling the movement of the cattle throughout the facility. They responded with interest in a short-term solution to get sales back at the facility. On the back of that, we prepared a draft licence agreement to reflect those arrangements and provided that back to them on the 4th of October. And we haven't had a response, so we're waiting for a response from that offer.
So 2 weeks, no response at all. Is that right?
Yeah, so it was the 4th of October, I think.
17th today.
was that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any other items? Nope. Declarations of interest. Mr General Manager, do you have any declarations been submitted?
Yes, I've received 2, which I'll just read through. So first one is from the Mayor, Councillor Robert Mustoe. It's in the matter of item 15.1, which is the regional jobs precinct item. It's a pecuniary interest, as the Mayor owns land in the RJP area, and therefore will be leaving the meeting for that item. The second one is from Councillor Humphreys in the same item, item 15.1, regional job precinct. It's a non-pecuniary insignificant conflict, as Councillor Humphreys is a committee member of an organisation that leases a building in one of the areas of the regional job precinct. So they're the 2 declarations I've received for tonight's meeting.
No more? Thank you. Petitions, item 9, there's nil. Now go over to page 8, item 10.1. We have a notice of motion from Councillor Hayes. Councillor Hayes.
I'd just like to move that as written. I'll read it out just for the sake of the meeting. That the Council writes to the Minister for Planning and Public Spaces and the CEO of the New South Wales Reconstruction Authority, expressing its concern for the potential impacts of large-scale housing buybacks on the future of Woodburn, and seeking alternative solutions that support flood-affected residents of the village to remain connected with their community.
Can I get a seconder, please? Councillor McGillan. Councillor Hayes.
Okay, I'll ramble on a bit. I'll read the rationale that I've put in there, just so you know what's kicked it off. It's now more than 18 months since the 22 floods devastated many homes in the village of Woodburn and surrounding areas. Since then, we have been waiting for clear leadership from the Northern Rivers Reconstruction Corporation to provide a long-term solution for flood-affected families in this community. The Northern Rivers Reconstruction Commission has now transitioned to the New South Wales Reconstruction Authority, and still there are no answers for local residents, except to offer wholesale housing buybacks that will decimate this community. The people of Woodburn are tired of asking for help and not being heard. They want the government to understand that their community is not just made of bricks and mortar that can be knocked down and moved away. It is made of generations of family connections to the village and its people. They want their future to be in Woodburn, not in some distant place away from their extended family, schools, sporting facilities and community activities. While we all understand that there are challenges with the lack of flood-free residential land in Woodburn and increasing planning restrictions on further rezoning of lands that may be flood affected, the government needs to start focusing on what can be done to support this community, to help it stay connected. Some families in Woodburn have been able to find opportunities to raise their homes and restart their lives, but not everyone has been fortunate. For many, the only option available is to take a buyback and move away. Whilst those who are left watch their community slowly decline, Woodburn has already lost one school and the supermarket and service station remain unopened. There must be a better long-term solution for the community, and I seek Council's support to call on the Minister for Planning and Public Spaces and the New South Wales Reconstruction Authority to work with people of Woodburn to find alternate solutions for large-scale buybacks. I commend this notice of motion to Council. I've got a bit more here I want to go on with.
Yep.
Okay, so Woodburn prior to the flood had just begun to recover from the Pacific Highway bypass and maintained a service station, a supermarket and a hotel motel and a Catholic primary school amongst other well-established businesses. It had a solid real estate market and had it become a town that was sought after by younger working families that desired to live in the area to be close to family. Woodburn is unique because the unavailability of any flood-free land for future housing, and if the new planning regulations are introduced, there will be no more rezoning of land for residential use on flood-prone land. Once residents have accepted buybacks, it results in that property becoming extinct, never to be built on again, and the residents will have to leave town as there is nowhere to go, resulting in a reduced and stagnant population. An example of this is an average young family with a pre-flood mortgage of $400,000 get a buyback, say $700,000. What can they do with $300,000? They cannot buy a flood-damaged property for that and repair it because a lending authority will not lend on flood-prone land. And if they did, they would require to have a massive bill for flood insurance. If the current New South Wales Reconstruction Authority were to offer that same family a choice of a buyback or a house lift, they would be able to remain in a home that would have a base that would be engineered to withstand possible future floods. That scenario does not form part of the scheme. What I'm asking via this notice of motion is not to deny anyone the opportunity of a buyback, but to give them the choice of a buyback or a house lift. The New South Wales Reconstruction Authority are only offering buybacks to some properties, but not house lifts, with the reasoning that these properties are in a high flow or dangerous area during flood. I think that they've got this wrong. How can one property qualify for a buyback and the neighbouring property get nothing? There are people who have been afforded buybacks but want to stay, and if they choose to stay, they get nothing and remain vulnerable to flooding in the future. Further implications that will result if the Reconstruction Authority keep going down this path: businesses will not re-establish because the declining population will not make them profitable. Council's current plans to redevelop River Street and the adjoining foreshore area could become a white elephant. And I just might add, along with those grants there you've read out there before, there are other ones that are probably not going to get the full use if we go down this track. Council's and also adapting a place plan under the current situation will be challenging, to say the least. The proposed letter to the Minister for Planning and the CEO of the New South Wales Reconstruction Authority should be vigorously supporting the following: make house lifting and mitigation works top priority with the funding as it becomes available. Emphasise again how disappointed the community is with communication and the snail pace of getting works on the ground and people back in their homes. But most of all, listen to what the people of Woodburn want.
Any other speakers? Councillor, I'm pleased you clarified that we weren't trying to stop anyone having a right to have a buyback in Woodburn. I think that needs to be happen. Everyone should be entitled to if they want to take it. But I'm of the same view. If a person refuses a buyback, I believe that they should be able to go to the next level of a house raise, and if they don't want that, they can get some resilience money. But under the process now, that can't occur. And I agree with everything you said. There are people who would like to stay there, but they can't get the house raise, so they're forced to leave. And I've raised this at our leaders' forums on occasions, and it's starting to get a little bit of traction. So hopefully that will go and that funding become available for those people who want to stay in the community. Some have lived there all their lives. So. Any other speakers? Like a reply?
Just comment that in Brisbane, when they had the big floods up there a few years ago, the same thing happened up there. They offered buybacks but not house lifts, and they changed it. As they got into it, they changed it, and they went down the track of offering those people that didn't want to shift lifts instead of buybacks. So I don't see why it can't happen here.
Yeah. Thank you. That closes the debate. I'll put that motion. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item 11, Mayor's Report. I'll move that. Get a seconder, please.
Second.
Councillor Humphries. Any questions? Put that motion then. All those in favour? Carried. Delegates' reports nil. Matters determined without debate. Any councillors calling any items?
Call item 15.1
Yep.
and planning matter? Does that have to be called?
No.
It doesn't? Okay, I'll just 15.1 then.
And I'll call 17.2. So I believe I'm looking for a motion to... Oh, is there any other councillors? Motion for 16.1, 16.2, 16.3 and 17.1. We right? Can I get a mover, please? Just a minute.
It's just under the Roads Act, 16.1, Ben. So it's not definitely not a planning matter.
No, it's a,
No.
Definitely not.
no, it's a Road Act and Land
So no.
Acquisition.
We were just having a second check to see if that was a planning issue, but we believe it's not. It's under the Roads Act. So once again, I want a motion for 16.1, 16.2, 16.3, 17.1.
Move that way.
Councillor Humphries, and a seconder.
Yeah, second.
Councillor Hayes. I'll put that motion. All those in favour? Carried. Over the page to 15.1. Councillors, with me having a pecuniary interest declaration in this item and Deputy Mayor Morrissey being absent, I need a motion for a councillor to occupy the chair on this item, please. Could I get a nomination and a mover, please?
Okay, I'd like to nominate Councillor Sandra Humphries to take the chair.
And I'll move it.
So that's moved by Councillor Hayes and seconded by Councillor McGillen. Do you accept that?
Yes, thank you, Mr Mayor.
What have you done to them? I'll put that motion in. All those in favour? Carried. Welcome, Councillor Humphries.
Good evening, everyone. We're now moving on to item 15.1, the Regional Jobs Precinct, with the recommendation on the bottom of page 12, called by Councillor Hayes.
Just like to move that recommendation as written.
Thank you. I have a seconder. Thank you, Councillor McGillan. Any further speaker or comments?
I have a question. So, through you, would you say Mrs. Mayor?
Actually,
Madam Chair. Madam Chair.
Yeah, no, I have a question.
before,
Um,
yeah.
What, through the General Manager might be able to answer this, when this goes out to public exhibition and the period it's out for, what's Council's role going to be?
I might. Well, the exhibition and the documentation and New South Wales Government documentation, so they will be leading the consultation process. We'll obviously be actively supporting them, and engaged in listening and hearing the views of our community. We have been working with the Department of Regional New South Wales through this whole process, but it is their draft master plan that will go on public exhibition. There'll be a range of other reports and information available for people to work their way through. I think there's going to be some drop-in sessions and other opportunities to chat with the Regional New South Wales team, but we'll be an active partner with them as we've been right through the project.
Thank you. Councillor Hayes, would you like to speak to your motion?
Oh, look, I think this is a great thing for the casino and the business precincts in casino and what it's going to bring to the town. So just providing the letter of support is just the start, and hopefully when we go through the exhibition period, we iron out anything we need to fix on it, and listen to the community and see what they want in these areas, and engage with probably the stakeholders that are already established in these areas and probably going to further establish there, so that we don't miss out on any opportunities. I think we take it on board and go with it. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hayes. Councillor McGillan, as the seconder, would you like to make any comment?
No, not at this stage.
Thank you. Any further comment or speaker? I did have a question, given that the public exhibition will be conducted by the Department of Regional New South Wales. I was wondering for a comment, a bit of a rundown on how the actual consultation and the responsibilities that Council will have in that process.
So the target, and this, I suppose this letter, it's important to make clear this is a letter of, in principle, support to put the draft master plan and supporting documents out for public exhibition. The letter of support will go with the package of information through to two ministers, Minister for Regional New South Wales and the Minister for Planning and Public Spaces. So they both need to sign off on this to then have this go out for public exhibition. So the aim is to get this out by mid-November, but I do stress that it is subject to ministerial approval before it gets released. So obviously it is a New South Wales Government program, and those ministers do need to approve it. So hopefully that can be achieved by that time, because the aim is to do the consultation prior to the Christmas break. As far as the consultation process, documents will be all available on the Regional New South Wales websites. We'll obviously link from our website to their website, so all that information will be readily available. It'll be made available in our customer centres as we do with other documents. And Director Jones might be able to add any detail here, but my understanding is that there will also be face-to-face consultation sessions that the Department of Regional New South Wales and our team will be at. Obviously, the dates and times and locations for those haven't been locked in because we are waiting that final step of approval from the New South Wales Government ministers. I don't know whether there's anything else to add.
Just to add to that Council and the Department have been working on an engagement plan that's in draft at this point in time, and it irons out all those details about how many pop-ups, how it's going to be presented in various media, social media formats, letters to residents and properties. So That will all be spelled out in the engagement plan, and council has been working very closely with the department on that.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Sorry, just to add to that, obviously there are a range of landowners that own property within all of these areas. We've got the Casino Food Co-op and anyone who owns land and operates their business in the industrial area. So there's quite a number of landowners. We will ensure that they're notified in advance. But I think the important message is that this is a draft master plan. This is the opportunity for people to take the time to read through the detail when it becomes available, give it some thought and provide feedback, generally in the form of submissions, ultimately, so that they can be considered by the Department of Regional New South Wales team. They then obviously consider any adjustments that might need to be made, and then that will then go through to another round of ministerial approval. Ultimately, the draft master plan does lead to adjustments to our planning scheme, so there is quite a number of legal processes that this needs to go through once we've been through that public consultation period. But it's obviously good news that we're getting really close to that step of getting it out there. So we've been talking about this for longer than we originally had intended, but obviously the 2022 floods had a significant impact on the process and the work that we needed to do. We're hopefully very close, and we're pushing hard, as is the team at Regional New South Wales, to get this out so our community can get a look at what some of the great opportunities are for the future growth of Casino, and it'll have a flow-on effect to the Richmond Valley.
Thank you both very much. I thought it was really important that the community understands that it will be comprehensive consultation, and it'll be the documents and the draft plan will be on public exhibition for the 28 days. I would like to make a comment, as a massive amount of work has been carried out to bring us to this point, 2 years of work at least. I urge everyone to please seek out information on the draft master plan and the associated documents. I believe this is an incredible opportunity for our local government area to have been chosen to be one of only 4 of these models, and to have been heavily and quite passionately supported by the state government is quite remarkable. As reported several times at council meetings, the aim is to fast-track approvals, to drive investment, diversify our economies and create new jobs in regional New South Wales. And in our Richmond Valley case, activating 3 industrial areas, creating up to 600 direct jobs, plus additional employment opportunities through future growth. The draft plan is a roadmap that leads to investment in existing industry, attraction of new industries and higher job security. For me, I feel that we literally have this gift, a draft plan compiled by experts in their fields, including our own Richmond Valley Council staff, and we have an incredible opportunity in the palm of our hands. It's important, hugely important, that we hear from as many people as possible during the exhibition period, as the General Manager has said. Let us know, how well does the draft measure up with your vision, your expectations for the progress and the growth of Richmond Valley Council? Does the plan offer more certainty that generations to come will be more likely to gain employment closer to home, to be offered more employment choices? Might our grandchildren and their children have more opportunity to build their livelihood and raise their families in the Richmond Valley? We sincerely want to hear from you. Before asking Councillor Hayes to close, are there any further comments or questions? Thank you. Councillor Hayes, if you'd like to close.
Just closing, on page 14, it says face-to-face meetings and drop-in sessions will be held during the exhibition period in Casino and Evans Head, which is good, so it's spread across the whole council area. And there will be targeted engagement with stakeholders, including key landholders, landowners and businesses, registered Aboriginal parties and government agencies. So I think that covers everybody, and it's good to see this out there, and it's spread afar, and everyone can have their say and see what happens. So thank you.
Yeah, it was good to draw that out. Thanks, Councillor Hayes. I will now put the motion. All those in favour? That's carried unanimously. Thank you.
Yep, 17.2, ain't it? 17.2. Councillors, we now move to item 17.2, page 27, with the recommendation on page 28, which I'll move. Seconder, please. Councillor McGillan.
Oh, sorry.
Councillor, there's not a real lot to be said about this, but I'm very, very pleased with this report and the outcome of it. Council will receive a detailed presentation by the auditors at the November meeting, and I'll have more to say then. And tonight we are only adopting the statements to be put out to public exhibition. And I will wait to see if there's any submissions come in, and I look forward to the auditor coming here and addressing council, and if we've got any questions we can fire them at him. Has any other councillors got anything they'd like to mention? No? I'll put that recommendation then. Carried. Unanimously. Now move over to page 34. There's general business, there's nil, item 18. 19 on page 35. Matters for information. Could I get a mover, please?
Yeah, I'll move.
Councillor Hayes, a seconder, please.
Second.
Councillor Humphries. Has any councillor got any they'd like to ask some questions out of matters for information?
Yeah, 19.2, the Corricida Woodburn Road, where it's up to. There's a couple of areas there. There's one there marked as unfunded, and then there's two areas there that are in the budget for completion for 23-24. So Dairy Flat, it's had work done on it. The road's been sealed, but that work to go there is for the culverts and what's involved in getting those culverts in there and lifting the level of the road, I assume.
Yes, so that the major work is still to come on that. Yes, it was resealed because it needed to be from a safety perspective. So, but yeah, Dairy Flat will be done. So it'll be culverts as well as some of the road to the east around that bend where it does get close, very close to the river. So there's a bundle of work to be done there under that sort of Dairy Flat, or often also referred to as the dip.
And Thurles Drain, what's happening there?
Similar, I think it's just over $1 million to improve Thurles Drain, I think, to increase the capacity under the road and just improve that as well. So there's that work, and the unfunded section that you mentioned is about $650,000 worth of work that we will be doing our best to identify some funding to achieve that. It sort of stands out now that the other work has been done, and so if we can find a way to fund that, hopefully in the short to medium term. That's certainly a goal.
Thank you.
While we're on that, and I'll come back to another one in a minute, but I'd just like to make a comment about the Corrakai Woodburn report, and also expand it to the Casino Woodburn Road, which is the extra section. I've got a couple of figures that Council has previously spent $2.5 million on the Corrakai Woodburn section, as well as the $10 million referred to in this report. And this road between Casino and Woodburn has further works planned coming up at Earls Drain, which has been mentioned, Dairy Flat, Tatham Bridges and Wilcox Bridge, to a total of almost $25 million. And it's fully funded, so it's not on a wish list. And when you've combined that with the previous funding that's been spent there, it'll be this road between Casino and Woodburn will have over $40 million spent on it over time when you get the future work and the past work. So I think that's a great outcome. As the report says, it's a critical transport link for the Richmond Valley, but from both ends, and also from the Kyogle Council and up under the Tablelands. So I think it's a great asset to have $40 million, good outcome, that kind of money spent on it, on that road. So I look forward to those.
When I first got on council, we were looking for $20 million at that point in time to do work on that road. And not only 20 million's come, we've got the Tatham Bridges and we've got some other stuff thrown in there. So at that time, I didn't think we'd ever see it, but it's done. More or less, it's done. Yeah,
and then there'll be some work to be done between Casino and Corrakai. But yeah, it's we've, as you know, it's been one of our priorities. Not what I'd call a signature event, but definitely one of our highest priorities for our road work system, and we're achieving some great outcomes for it. And we've worked hard with our politicians to get the money, and we've been rewarded, so it's really good. Is there any, Council's got any other items before I move off on the roads? The other one I'd like to go back to is 19.1, the customer experience report. And I'd just like to ask a comment in the report part. The first paragraph, recruitment across all sectors remains challenging, and I'd like to know about our the grow our own approach. If someone could let me know on that, please, Mr. General Manager.
I'll let Director Jones, it's in her patch and she knows the story. Some
Director
successes.
Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In our customer experience team, we have taken a grow our own approach. Customer experience needs to know a little bit about everything about our organisation. So it's a beautiful ground for teaching new people about our organisation and who does what. So we're often seeing that we skill up people in our customer experience team, and then they have opportunities in other sections of our organisation. And there are a number of examples that I can think off the top of my head. We have previous customer experience staff in our rates section, our planning and development section, procurement, people and culture, where else have they gone? Executive assistants. So they're all throughout our organisation, which is quite humbling, and I'm quite proud that we do train our own, and they do go on to different career opportunities within our organisation and grow. It does pose us a little bit of an issue because we're continually having to train new people, but our manager of that area sort of wears it as a badge of honour that she does a good job with her team, and they're trained well, and other sections of council desire their skill set.
I know at a lot of the joint organisation meetings, it's always a topic of councils just can't get staff. I think one council in our area had around 40 vacancies at one stage. So I think it's a great approach. We do have our YES program and youth training, and I think it stuck out to me, and that's why I asked the question. I think it's a really good.
Just to sort of expand on that, you mentioned our YES program, just to let you know that, because I know it's something that's been very successful for us, and we had our Careers Expo recently, and as a result of that, we are now, I think we've got a good field of applicants for around 13 positions across our business, and we're working through next week interviews and discussions with them. We tend to do that as a group initially, and it's finding out about what their interests are, what they're passionate about, and it's always good to have employees that are passionate about what they're doing. So we try and match rather than necessarily, just fit them into something that we need. So yeah, that program continues, and we're looking forward to potentially around 13 roles being filled across our business, because that has been one challenge that all local government has faced over the last couple of years, is dealing with a higher turnover of staff and securing new people to make sure we can keep delivering what we need to deliver. So we look forward to that program and the outcomes from it, and so the successful people in those roles will start at the start of 2024 in January.
And Mr General Manager, I believe that youth employment scheme now has had over 100 youth go through it. So we're kind of like an employment agency. We train our own and give them jobs, and some do move on to better things, and some stay here and go up to better things. And yeah, it's really good. Yeah. So also on that report, if we go to page 39, down the bottom it's got council summary, and in there it says submitted and lodged. 6543. Could someone explain what the difference between submitted and lodged is? You got it?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think so. Do you know the answer? It's when they're in the portal, and lodged is when they're accepted. Just double checking that we've got this right so we don't get it wrong. With the planning portal, you submit your application, so that is the submitted, and when they're lodged is when that's actually that application is accepted into the system. So it sits in the system until such time as it's vetted and accepted by council, required fees are paid, and then it becomes a lodged application.
And when it's submitted, if it didn't have the correct information, it would sit there until the correct information come through, and then it would automatically be lodged. Is that how it works?
Yes, we then correspond with the proponent or the person who submitted that application, and give them advice on what they need to do to amend their application to make it such that it is able to be lodged with us. So yes, it does sit there in planning portal land until such time as it can check all the requirements of the planning system before it can be a full and proper application that we can assess.
Just those two words had a lot of similarities to them, submitted and lodged.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's why.
I hope that clarifies what we're talking about.
It
Okay.
does. Yep.
I can add that they sit there for about 3 to 4 days in Richmond Valley Council maximum, which is pretty good.
Thank you. And then page 41, it just talks about the significant volumes and tasks and actions which are required to complete by council's frontline customer experience staff. And I know there's a really lot of some new faces in that customer service. Walk in there and they've onto other jobs in our organisation. It's a positive report, and it's pleasing to see the standards, the new staff they've stayed high, and more often they've been exceeded than not. So I think that's a really good outcome for the new staff to be able to keep those levels that the experienced staff were there before. So if you could pass that on to them, please.
Certainly will.
Thank you. We've done 42, which was page 42, which was the Woodburn Road, I believe. I want to go to 47, which is Director Zeller's report and the responsible officer, Daniel Rowlands. I'd like to congratulate every staff member of this council, whether it was from the start of the design work, getting the funding, anyone who was involved, and I know Michael Pontifax was a big part of it, but I'd like to congratulate everyone and councillors for pursuing this project and the funding. I was fortunate enough yesterday, 3 weeks after it opened, to go for a swim, and had a good talk to the pool manager, and he just said the support that's coming through that gate, and he's very happy that it's a lot of families. And I went to the swimming club the other night for their first swim and it's a really great asset for the Richmond Valley community. It's something else, and the day of the opening, I had great delight in standing near the front entrance and just watching the children's faces. And, you know, some of them were 8 or 10 coming through that gate, and they're used to walking in to see old crack cement and pathways and bindi eyes and all this type of stuff. And they've walked in there and they've seen this water tumbling down and buckets tipping out, and they were just, mouths were open, and they'd look up at their parents and then look back at it, and it was great. And yesterday there was elderly people swimming, and it's a really good for everyone, from right through from children to elderly. And I have had one complaint about it. A gentleman had a bit of a go at Vaughan and I the other day because the early morning lap swimmers, very popular, and he has to arrive there at 5:30 now to get a lane. So he wasn't real pleased. So if that's the type of feedback I'm getting, I'm very happy that he's not happy. Okay, so once again, thank you everyone, and I don't know how we pass that message on to our staff, but because there were so many people involved in that, but yeah, it was a proud day to be a mayor, I can tell you. It was great. I think I need to put that motion, don't I? Is there anyone else?
Mr Mayor, I didn't want to bump in while you're on a roll, but if I could just go back to the customer service item again. There was just something on page 39 in the development concierge one where to improve customer communications, a courtesy phone call and email system upon the construction certificate being issued has been newly implemented, and I'm sure that that's very helpful. Just wanted to bring that out.
Any other items? So page 35 for the recommendation, Councillor Hayes and second Councillor Humphries. I'll put that motion. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you, Councillor Cornish. We now go to page 60. Questions on notice nil. Item 20. Item 21, questions for the next meeting in writing. Do we have any questions in writing? No. Councillors, I now need a motion to go into closed committee, closed council. Could I get a mover, please?
Yeah, I'll move.
Councillor Hayes, a seconder. Councillor McGillen. Mr General Manager, has there been any written representations made regarding this meeting going to closed council?
No, they haven't.
Are there any verbal representations from the members of the public? Thank you. I'll now put that motion, and thank you to the gallery for attending. All those in favour? Carried. good. Mr General Manager, could you read the resolutions of closed council, please?
I'll let, I think Director Zella's got those ones covered.
In the item 22.1, tender RFT 100599501, Rapville Sewerage Reticulation System Construction. Recommend that Council 1 declines all tenders for tender RFT 100599501, Rapville Sewerage Reticulation System Construction, due to all tenders being more than Council's available budget. 2, authorises the General Manager to negotiate and finalise the terms and conditions of any contract or agreement in line with the content of this report and the available budget, and affixing the seal of Council where necessary. And 3, notes that the outcome of the negotiations will be reported to Council for information at a future meeting. In the item 22.2, tender VP 375416, Queen Elizabeth Park fencing upgrades. Recommend that 1, Council accepts the tender from JMFC Fencing for Queen Elizabeth Park fencing upgrades, as it represents the best value for Council at $382,130 exclusive of GST. And 2, the General Manager be authorised to negotiate and finalise the terms and conditions of any contract or agreement in line with the content of this report and the available budget, and affixing the seal of Council where necessary.
Thank you. That concludes the meeting. Thank you, Council, for attending, and staff, and everyone have a safe trip home, and thank you, Councillor Cornish, and everyone who else who's viewing online. Thanks very much.